Hello, everyone. I'm Achi, the organizer of DevRelCon Yokohama 2023. It will be held in Yokohama, Japan on March 10th and 11th, 2023. In this interview session, we will talk to Marino, the speaker of the maybe 10th or 11th, sorry about that, about what can expected to hear from the regarding the session. Please reference it when you attend the conference. So, welcome, Marino Wijay. Hi, Marino.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you for having me, Atsushi. How are
Yes,
you doing
so
today?
thank you for coming from Canada in virtually. So, currently, what time is it
Oh,
in your city?
it is just 2 minutes past 8 p.m. So it's
Oh,
about 8:02 p.m. in the evening.
okay. Thank you for giving the time to
Yeah,
interview
well, how
session.
about you? What time is it over where you're at right now?
Currently 10 a.m.
Oh, okay, okay,
morning.
okay. So it's morning. Okay, excellent.
Okay, so at first, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hello everyone. My name is Marino Wijay. I'm a platform advocate at a service mesh company called Solo.io. But I'm also an ambassador at EddieHub, which is an open source collaborative community for folks to come and collaborate together and work together to solve a variety of open source challenges. And then finally, I'm also an organizer for a conference called Coop Huddle, which is happening in Toronto in May. So I can, hopefully see you all there. Go to coophuddle.com and, you'll find out some more info. Outside of that, I'm a Canadian. I've lived in Canada and Toronto for all my life, and it's interesting to be able to travel the world and see other parts. Like coming up to Japan is so fascinating for me because I've never been to that part of the world before, and I'm excited. At the same time, I'm trying to do a lot of research so I can make sure that I come out there and I can meet a lot of great people, and at the same time, just taking a lot of the culture that Japan has to offer. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you so much. And I checked your website, solo.io.
Mm.
So you provide the application platform, right?
Correct, correct. So what we effectively do is Solo provides a platform for application networking, and really it comes down to where you're past this development phase and you're trying to run your apps in production at scale, and you need to think about different layers of networking, from the lower layers all the way up to the application layer, and so there are a lot of challenges that present itself around traffic routing, around observability, and even security. So this is some of the main challenges that Solo aims to offer through their Glue platform.
I see. And Suro provide a lot of open source softwares, right?
Yeah, there's a few open source technologies that Solo heavily contributes to. One is Istio, the Istio service mesh.
Mm,
Solo even helps maintain some of the Envoy open source proxy, as
mm,
well as Solo has been really strong in the Cilium CNI community, as well as areas around eBPF. Solo
mm.
has their own open source project called Bumblebee, which is a way to build eBPF based programs as well.
I see. So I think you have developer communities and uh, like Kubernetes or DevOps is very big keyword and it's in trend around the world. So maybe so many people involved to your communities and maybe so many people have different type of expected value, right?
Mhm.
So how to control their expected value or how to control the communities.
Yeah, the community aspect is interesting because there is a little bit of overlap between developers who don't really use Kubernetes per se, but they actually will write apps that eventually land on Kubernetes or a similar platform. And then you have this basically this audience of operators, or this community of operators and platform engineers, as well as even network engineers, that support all of these platforms for our apps to run. And so finding that middle ground is interesting because you're basically creating a bridge between these two different communities and helping them understand how they best support each other. But I think one of the biggest things that I believe is that if you lead with a lot of empathy and understand both sides' pains that they go through, and share that with the other side, it really helps foster a lot of great collaboration amongst these communities as well.
Mm, I see. So in Japan, DevOps or cloud native is very big keyword currently.
Hmm.
So maybe you can meet a lot of engineers or developers in the conference, I think. So the it's so huge keyword, like so
Hmm.
many technology inside, and so many developers, like engineers, database engineers or network engineers, a lot of type of engineers. You can meet them in the conference,
That's
I hope.
I'm honestly looking forward to it. So DevRelCon, can you tell me a little bit about how that got started, if you don't mind? I'm really interested to know.
Mm, yeah. So in Japan, devel is maybe uh, new keywords in Japan right now. So um, maybe half of attendees are involved developer relations already, but half of attendees is not. So they are programmers, engineers, like that. So maybe DevRelCon is not marketing yet, more developer keywords, I think.
Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Awesome.
Mm. Okay, so we will move to the next topic, your sessions. Could you introduce your sessions?
Yeah, so the session is about my path to the DevRel journey, and it's really interesting because I actually decided to kind of talk about the technologies I decided to better understand and how I went about understanding them. And it really falls down to this idea of basically learning in public and then tapping into the community to basically allow them to guide you towards various other areas that you might be unfamiliar with, or you realize that you may not need to touch now, but at some point you may need to visit or go deeper into at some point in time. And so, what I realized in the last year, 2 years, the cloud native ecosystem or the cloud native community has been very, very giving in a lot of different ways. They have There have been so many individuals out there that have contributed to open source, have added not only just to the code base, but to the projects in the way of tutorials, helping folks understand how to get started with something, how to proceed beyond that tutorial state. And now you're actually implementing production, and then you start to realize, hey, you can actually participate in all of this as well. And so, what I wanted to do with my talk is be able to provide folks a more customized path of how I got to the world of developer relations. And at the same time, what that means for me, what I end up doing for the community. And it may not be the same as, I'm always in Git or writing code, pushing code up to GitHub or GitLab or something like that, and having folks reference that. But it might be other things too that I decided to go after. And so I want to be able to paint that for folks to better understand how they can probably get themselves into the world of developer relations and understand the impact that they can provide for their communities as well as the organizations that they work for.
I see. Thank you so much. And I have some questions. So
Sure.
I think most of companies that involved to the developer relations, they want to make the developer communities, but I sometimes they tackle to try it, but that is not easy. So um, open source can make developer community easy, but uh, you have to control the balance of business, your company, solo IO, and the developer communities.
Hmm.
So uh, how to control, it's a different keyword, it's a different word. So how to control the community's expected values and company's expected value?
Yeah, I think that's always an interesting one that comes up whenever I'm talking about developer relations, because when it comes down to the company vision, company goals, that's always achievable. And usually that is normally tied to things like revenue, right? The company has to attain that revenue, and those are their goals, right? There are other sub goals that they might be trying to achieve. We don't necessarily have to sit there and be the ones that sell this technology. We have to enable folks. We have to make sure that they understand that there are problems that they are probably challenged with or facing at the moment. And maybe they don't know them yet, or maybe they do, and they just need a way to relate to these problems. That's what we're here for, right? So help you relate to these challenges first, and then at the same time provide you ways that you could potentially solve these challenges. And then you think about, okay, I can do this pretty easily, but I want to do this at scale. I want to do this with something that provides some back-end support, someone I can pick up the phone and call. It's definitely not going to be me, but I will say that it's going to be a company that backs that. And so if I can find a way to drive that company vision through ways of education and enablement, and basically bringing along the community towards a particular project, maybe some of them have this desire to contribute to open source. Well, wait, Istio is an open source project that everyone can contribute to. And I think if you do it under the lens of Solo, for example, it really adds a lot of guidance, and you'll also have this ability to say, look, I have Solo's backing of everything I'm trying to commit here to this project. And that's the way we do this, is through an ambassador program, right? And through that ambassador program, we're able to help mentor these folks that want to get into open source. And because we already have an open source team that is able to feed into, let's say, upstream Istio, it makes it easy to create that channel for these ambassadors to find their path into open source in a much more structured manner versus let me read the contributing guideline and hope for the best, right? But at the same time, sometimes you have to also do that. Yeah.
I see. So I think when you grown up your communities or your softwares, so many developers ask you about the I can do that something. So you many times I think, okay, so you make the fix and you send a pull request, please something. So, but how to support them? Do you have any ideas? So, wannabe or anytime, every time they just say, I can do that, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a balancing act, right? I mean, if there's let's say you're mentioning that there's a pull request that needs to move along or something like that. I think we as developer advocates, it's not only external advocacy, it's also internal advocacy too, right? We have feedback. We
Mm,
have a feedback loop that we're trying to make sure that we can get to the right channels. And so,
mm,
from my lens, for me, what matters most is the product organization and the engineering organization that I can attach myself to and say, look,
mm,
we have open source contributors here that are trying to push along some sort of feature. How can we move this along? Is there something that they're missing that we can add to this pull request to really drive it towards completion, so that we can get something merged with the main branch or something along those lines? And so it really comes down to this notion of, okay, I'll advocate for you, but I'm also thinking about how I can advocate internally and say, look, this is really beneficial in a lot of ways for us because it's helping
mhm,
drive our own community image. It helps show that we're
mm.
strong in the community as well.
I see. That's nice ideas. So, thank you so much, Marino. We have to end up the interview session right now. So, I really hope you will enjoy our conference also. So, so many developers waiting your sessions. So, please enjoy the conference with us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to being out there.
Okay, so our conference will be held on the March 10th, 11th. So see you at Yokohama next month.
See you.
Yeah, see you. Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. So, how about the interviews? I announce again our conference DevRelCon Yokohama 2023 will be held on the March 10th and 11th, 2023 at Yokohama, Japan. Tickets are now on sale and please enjoy and please attend the conference. So, see you next interview. Bye.